Okay, I think we're ready. I think we're live. Welcome, welcome. So my name is Tracy Gunn, and we're doing a bonus training day so that people can learn the basics. Oh, shoot. Hold on. There we go. I can turn that off now. I don't need to hear myself 2 times. Sorry about that. First time going live on YouTube. I'm so excited. Okay, so basically what I do is I help business owners to prepare their businesses for sale because, funnily enough, most businesses are not ready. They're mostly jobs, not businesses. So, and the businesses own people, not them owning the business. So we help them to figure out how to get out of that scenario, how to fix that so that they could have a business that's valuable, sellable, and transferable, that they hand it over to somebody and it doesn't fall apart, right? And it all starts with coming up with an exit plan. And now exit plan can be confusing for a lot of people. It really, for people, they think, oh, I'm not ready, it's not time. But really, the more time that you have to prepare, the better off you're going to be. Really simply put, like if you were packing up your house to leave, right, to move, do you want 1 hour to do it, 1 day to do it, or a couple months, right? And this is just moving your house from one to another, not getting rid of everything you own. And so a business takes a little time to get yourself out of. And so that term exitable that we came up with really kind of defines exactly what is happening, what you're aiming for. And the way that we do that to start, we do this with every client we work with, is to come up with an exit plan. And there's some basics involved in creating an exit plan. And so I figured we'll do the training today. And I invited, we're streaming live. And so I invited some clients to come on board to learn for free. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to create our first exit plan. I know it doesn't sound very exciting, but it's actually super fun. Because really, this is your opportunity to dream about what you want your exit to look like. Now, that doesn't matter whether you're somebody like I was, who was just mentally done and tired and wanting to get out of their business, or maybe you're a retiree. Oh, sorry, someone came in. Whether you're a retiree and want to liquidate or sell your business so you can retire. And finally, it could just be that in the next couple of years, you think you want to get out of it. But you know, things happen all the time. People have to leave their businesses for all kinds of reasons. And more often than not, it's a surprise. So let's talk divorce. Let's talk health reasons. Let's just talk that you're just not passionate about it anymore. You know, as entrepreneurs, we get shiny object syndrome. We love it today and then maybe not so love it anymore. So then we go to the next stage, which is like, we want to do the next thing. So all of those reasons are reasons to develop an exit plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I have it pulled up on another screen. Let me just find the right one. I think this is the one. We'll see. Oh, there we go. Okay, and I can show you the right one. So here's my exit plan. And this is, you know, I like to make things not super complicated because I think the more complicated things are, especially for a busy business owner, the more likely you are to not do it. If it's really complicated, it's at all intimidating, you're just not going to do it. And you're going to put it on the side and deal with other, maybe more fun things now. And so, but I propose that if we create an exit plan and that we make it kind of fun and very 30,000 feet as opposed to granular, that it's easy to get through the first time. And so here we are at our exit plan. I hope everybody can see it. And so we have a very basic sheet, and it's really meant to get you thinking about what you want and what it could look like, because I propose to you that most business owners are busy starting their business, fixing their business, running their business, but very few of them have a clear picture of what the end or finish line looks like. But how do you run a race if you don't know where you're going? If you don't know what the end finish line looks like, how can you know if you're aiming towards it, right? You need a bullseye to target. And so that's what this does. So we're going to talk about first. So really, it's about dreaming big, putting them down on paper, and having fun. So let's just do it. Just do it. It takes 5 minutes. If you really want to go through it fast, it could take as little as 5 minutes just to get yourself clear. And I'll share, I figure I'll do mine, what I originally had done for my restaurant. And then we can kind of review and talk about how that impacted all of my choices. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about determining your destination. So you're going to set your goals for yourself and your business. This should include any long-term plans with the business and maybe what you'd like to sell your business for. It's a goal. It doesn't even have to be grounded in reality, but it's important to know what you're aiming for. So this is adjustable. You're always going to come back and course correct this plan. And even as you learn and grow and explore within this plan, you're going to figure out best exit options, what things that are more appealing to you. You're going to adapt. So don't even worry about that. So where are you going? So for myself, my destination was, I had at the time 2 candy stores, 2 restaurants, and I really didn't want to be doing any of them anymore. And so what happened was that I decided I wanted to be done, but it wasn't sellable at the time. So for me, I wanted a sellable business. I wanted to be paid back for the money that I spent and the time and energy that I spent investing in my business. And so number one, I wanted to sell. Number two, I wanted to sell for money, not just handing it over. I didn't want to have to liquidate it because that's a lot of work. Okay. So my long-term plan was, and actually I gave myself 6 months. So I gave myself a time frame. I gave myself a number that I was aiming for, and I gave myself some parameters about what that would look like if it was going to be acceptable to me. So that's what my finish line was going to look like. It was going to result in a business that was sellable, for profit, to someone. I was not going to stay, so I was going to exit. And the final thing, I missed one. That's what happens when you go live, right? Money, time, 6 months. Yeah, the time. Okay, so it's kind of like your who, what, where, when, and how, right? So the second piece is that you're going to estimate your value. If I wanted to sell for $200,000, well, what is my business worth right now? Now, when I started this process, my business, according to the broker, was that it was worth nothing. So I was going from 0 to 200,000, which is possible. It just depends on how much time and effort and energy you're willing to put in to build it and make it that valuable. But so for me, I was at 0. So that was easy. But for some people, that's not as easy. So this requires your financial readiness. So if you're not someone who's great with keeping your books up to date, you don't look at your reports, you don't know what your sales are, you don't know what your profit margins are, you don't know if you're up or down or sideways, you probably need to fix those things before you figure out if your business is profitable or not and where you are. Because you need to know your profit for last year before you can figure out your value. Okay, this is not a guess. This is not about what you feel. These are just simple math. Okay, so you need to find out your profit margin. I'm sorry, your profit from last year. Easy thing to do is pull out your tax report from last year, your Schedule C or your whatever form you're using, and look at your profit, your total. That's the number you declared to the IRS. Use that number. Okay, and whatever that number is, there's a grade, but that's where you start. Okay, and we do have some other follow-up information on how to do that. But you want to figure out what it was your profit from last year, and depending on the level, you're going to times it by 1, 2, 3, or 4. If it's run by you. If it's professionally run, then there's a whole bunch of multiples we could find out depending, but we're going to keep it simple. We're going to say the profit was $100,000 last year, and chances are my multiple for that's going to be 1.5, which because it's pretty low. So my business could be worth from $100,000 to $150,000. It's very simple math. But I want to get to 200. So you see, I'm at 200 here. That's my dream. I'm at 150 here. Well, now how am I going to get them to come together? And that is the next piece of the puzzle after this. So the next part, so now we know our value. We know where we're going, what we're aiming for, right? Now let's talk about who our buyer is. So every business usually has a customer avatar, right? It's a fancy word for who are your customers? What kind of people are they? What demographic? Where are they from? What do they like? What's the commonality of your customers? So, but now it's time to create a buyer avatar. Who do you think would want to buy your business? So now here's where you're going to take an opportunity to like brainstorm all the options. So like I had a restaurant, right? So it could be one of my customers. It could be one of my employees. It could be an investment firm, right? Who was like snapping up all little restaurants and putting them all together so it'd be worth more. That's a strategy. It could be just somebody who has a smaller restaurant who wants to take over my restaurant, right? Because mine was 6,500 square feet, it was big. So those were kind of the avatars I came up with. Maybe somebody who is just graduating culinary school. Maybe they want to have their own restaurant. Now, if I want to sell outright, that's one thing, right? I want the cash. But what if I was going to do seller finance and they would earn, right? They would just come spend a little time with me, but then I would kind of walk away and they would pay me monthly, right? Plus interest. So really think about who could it be and what ways could you make that work to get your number? And what are you willing to do? Some people are not willing to do any of those things and they're just going to close their business, and that's okay. But you have to know what is acceptable to you and what you really want. And so put that down on your paper. Okay, the next part, time frame, we talked a little bit about. Consider the time frame before you exit. So you know your value, you know how much time you're willing to spend to get there. Consider what needs to change in your business to get you there. So list also your key players and technology you may need to onboard. So for example, if you, as I was, are running your business and you're doing all the bookkeeping, you're doing all the ordering, you're doing the human resources piece, you're managing the restaurant, right? You're sometimes cooking because people don't show up. If you're doing all those things, in order to sell your business, you have got to figure out how to fix those pieces. How do you replace yourself in your business? So you want to list out all the things you do, but also you want to list out any big pieces. Like let's just say you 100% rely on one salesperson. Oh, there we go. So if you were doing that and you were relying on one person, then what you can do is replace that one person or spread that job out among one person. So that way it's not heavily reliant on one person, because that would not be attractive to a buyer. So the time frame and how and who is going to be working within that time frame for you is crucial in your exit plan. And then the next little part is the when and the why. So the drivers behind all the decisions. Why are you selling? Put that down. Like, when are you going to exit? Document your motivation. What are you going to do after you sell? What is your plan and your tax strategy? Do you have one? Who should you talk to? Those are all things that you need to get on your exit plan so that you have a really good idea about what you're up against. Because before you build your exit plan, you really are thinking about growing and existing and surviving oftentimes in your business, right? Making it more profitable, getting more customers, making your life a little bit easier, right? Doing some key hires, you're doing that. But when you shift your focus to exit planning, all of a sudden, now you're thinking about how the heck do I get myself out of this business? You're not necessarily thinking only about growing. You're not necessarily thinking about only about profit. You're thinking about how do I remove myself so that this business is not only profitable and more profitable, but stable enough to be able to take and hand over to somebody else. And that requires some planning because let's face it, most of us are very involved in our businesses. So you need to get all of those things down on paper. And I hope that by going through this very easy worksheet, you kind of see how you really need to start thinking about some of these things. And it's an ongoing list and things are going to occur to you like, oh, shoot, I didn't think about that piece, right? Who are my customers? How do I talk to them? Do I have a consistent way of talking to them, right? Shoring up that list. So the final one is your succession plan. So what if something were to happen? Some people might call this an emergency plan. What's your immediate plan? Like, let's just say one day you had a car accident and you're in a coma, right? Everybody lives, everybody's okay, but you're out for a while. What happens? But let's say, what if the worst case scenario happened and you died? Then what happens? You need a short-term plan and you need a long-term plan that if you're not coming back, right? So do you have an SOP? Do people know what to do in case of emergency? Do they know where your banking is? Can they get into your computer? Do you have a healthcare proxy? Do you have another signer on your account so your employees can get paid? These are all things you really need to be thinking about. And I know that's a lot of information that I just threw at you today as we're live on YouTube. But those are all things to really start thinking about, considering, and starting to be organized about. And if you'd like some more help, we do a workshop that's free training every once in a while. You can find out about it at getexitable.com and join us for the next free training and we'll walk you through all the things you need to do. So thanks so much for watching and I'm so glad you were here. Have a great